Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast, all the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today, and including sometimes things that we can only have conversations about on the Aftercast, because they're kind of too big to go into on the regular show, and you want to spend a little bit of time with them so something doesn't get taken out of context or whatever. And full disclosure, I'm going to have to be very careful how I talk about this, and I'm going to try to be very careful. And I know I've got the eyes of Betty Lou sitting across from me that will give me disapproving stares if I cross a line.
Not disapproving stares. What I'm going to give you are...
Be careful stares.
Yes, be careful stares.
Okay.
Just watch what you say.
Well, here's the deal. I got an email from somebody and said, hey, can we, listeners, or maybe just potties, get your thoughts on the Instagram post from Forrest Frank about the Doves and not attending Christian award shows or any award shows? Like Betty, I go straight to the comments, and they're a little mixed on this one. And so, we'll go through the audio that he said about this. And I disagree with him in this. And his tone in it is, it's so hard because when someone comes at something from the moral high ground and the Christian high ground, anything you say is like you're attacking God, and you're attacking the truth. And so I don't think that's the case. But when you put yourself out into social media and you have an opinion about something, it's okay to have an opposite opinion about that. I will try to be kind in my opposite opinion, but I think it's important to say there are two sides to a story a lot of times, and it's okay to have a different thing. I told her, I said, you're on point with the humble brag, because Forrest won an award last year and proceeded to basically call everybody out in the audience for winning awards, and still accepted it. But anyway, so I'm going to play his audio about what she's referring to in its entirety. I'll probably stop it at different points and comment, but just so you know, it's not edited. It is as he posted it, okay? Because I think that's important. So here we go.
As Christians, it's hard to know where the line in the sand is between being in the world and not of the world. And as a Christian artist, I dress kind of like the world. I kind of look like the world. My music can kind of sound like the world. So where's the line in the sand drawn? And I'm convicted personally that a line that I can draw is that I will not receive a trophy for something that is from Jesus and for Jesus.
Okay, he's a very religious man, and he's drawing the line on it's a trophy. He's saying this is a worldly thing, and so I am above that in my spirit. I'm convicted about this. But then everyone else that is there and getting awards, the context is you are less than holy than me. Here's the thing. I'm going to come at this from a different perspective. It's hitting me right now. If I was advising Forrest as a friend, we're not friends. I don't think we ever would be friends. I would not see myself ever hanging out with him at church.
Only just in the sense that you guys
We're
are
different.
Just very, very, very different people.
He's very, very religious.
Yes.
And I am not as touchy-feely inside of my faith as that. So, we would not connect on things. There are some things I think we would connect on. But then there are other things we just would not be on the same page with. But, inside of that, when he makes these statements, then he's rubbing a bunch of people the wrong way that have good hearts, and they're not about winning awards. And it almost is like the connotation is, if you're winning this award, you're really not about ministry. You're about your own self-gratification. And nothing could be further from the truth. With 99% of the people that are at these award shows and are winning things, it's basically just it's a salute to your hard work. And that you've done something, and that you did sacrifice, and you did do things, and it's okay. It's okay. Like when you have a company that they give you awards for your hitting your sales goals and things like that. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Now, if that's why you're doing it, and you're doing it for people's adoration, then it's out of balance. But that's not on him to say about other people. Now, he can say it for himself. And he is doing that. He's like, yeah, I'm stepping away from this because I think it's this. But the reality is, I know a bunch of Christian artists. And my advice to him, because I've had conversations, is he's starting to jump the shark and starting to rub people the wrong way inside of the faith, inside of his industry.
There are certain elements about Forrest that feel like what Jesus, or was it God? They're the same, I know. But whenever they said, go into your room and pray.
Yeah.
Don't be out and about here praising yourself and looking for people to affirm you. Like, he could very easily just have not gone. And then, hey,
Right.
like if someone asks
Just
him,
don't
like,
go.
hey, Forrest, why didn't you go? It's like, oh, it's just, this is how I feel about it.
Right.
I just not, it's really
You
not in
have
my
to make the
ballpark.
declaration.
But he's making these declarations.
I think that's the main difference. I think and he even said that in that audio that you played, that he has a conviction about going to award shows.
Right.
And that's okay. I think that God, I had this conversation with a friend of mine recently where it was like, I feel like sometimes God puts convictions on certain people
Absolutely.
for certain things. That doesn't mean that it's the same conviction on someone else.
Maybe he's convicted because he would succumb to the worldly
Yeah.
adoration, and it's a thing he needs to do.
Maybe
but
so.
Gavin is on point with, like, if it's your conviction, why do you have to make the declaration? Because then
Yeah.
you're just like,
that's the difference, is that, like Gavin said, if someone came up to him and said, why don't you go to these award shows? Why aren't you always never there
Right.
to accept it? Then he could explain it to that person. But to go on social media and talk about it, it comes across as bragging.
Right.
Now, that
It's a humble brag.
That may not be what he is trying to do. However, with social media, people assume the worst. They never assume the best.
Here's the thing, and again, this is where I'm going to go at from the different tone of, not that I don't like him, but like if I was to guide you or counsel you as a friend, I would be like, I would tread carefully in this zone because you are coming off as holier than thou. But I would say I don't believe that's his intention. Like, I think he is just a super devout person who doesn't read a room well and doesn't care. Because to him, his higher calling is, I'm doing this all to glorify God, glorify God, glorify God. And so if I'm glorifying God, it doesn't matter what you say. Like that super just in your face guy, And like where some people respond to that, it's great. And they like, yeah, I love that, man. Good on you. I would never respond to that as a person. I would be so turned off by that person. I would want nothing to do with your God. But at the end of the day, he has to be him, and he's not accountable to me. He's accountable to God. Here's a little more of the audio.
And I was wrestling with this last year. I even said that on stage at the Dove Awards. I said, I'm still struggling with the concept of receiving this award, but all glory to Jesus. Every name will fade away, including mine, except for one name. But I feel a conviction to go even a step further and say, I don't know if I even want to step on the stage. I don't know if I want to step in the room. And so I have decided to take a stance of non-participation. I will not be attending the Doves or the Grammys. I hope to be an example to the youth that the trophy is our salvation. The trophy is that my name is listed in the book of life and I get to have eternal life. What good is a piece of metal gonna do compared to that?
So passionate.
To tell that to who's our boy who's won 1 million of those
Oh, Chris
awards.
Tomlin or somebody.
Stephen Curtis Chapman,
Yeah,
who has like 30 Dove Awards.
I mean, I get your passion, and his passion is not ill-placed.
And the music
okay?
behind
I want to be very careful about this because the minute you say anything against Forrest Frank, you find yourself having to make an apology video for bullying the little guy. And there's the look from Betty. There it was.
That one.
We got it.
That might have been.
I got one.
That might have been.
But it's true.
No,
Again,
agreed.
You cannot say that it's not true because he got all offended when people were doing the parody videos, and then he pressured other artists into like doing these collabs with him, and it was not a good look.
Again,
and I know other artists that were like bothered by this, and it's not a good look.
Yeah, everything Forrest really desperately wants everything to be public, too.
Right.
And there's something that is really good to be said for like living a public life of faith that can inspire other people, but he's taking so many things that can be so private and so good for him, and he puts them all out there.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable.
That's the thing, though. Like, here's the thing, because he's like he's saying, "Oh, the little piece of metal that you're getting," and he's really he's being kind of talking down to it, and it's coming from this holier than thou kind of place is what it feels like. Not his intention. I don't believe that's his intention. I really don't. I just think he's wired that way, and I think that's how he comes across. But like, I would submit to Forrest that maybe the internet is your idol. Because you're looking for all this, stuff on the internet, and all the you're taking all the likes and all the fame and all of that from the internet, which you could say is just as intoxicating and that's your reward is the internet, And so that's where you find the glory. And so other people might find it in, winning an award for something or whatever. So just like he's really big on don't judge. He in essence is judging the people that are at that award show tonight.
Yes. I think he's seeing it more as like God has given him this platform, and he has, and he wants his platform to only point to God. And that is commendable.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And I think that is good.
That's the heart of everything.
I think he believes it.
Yeah, I just hope that he has someone in his corner that is speaking to him on this side of thinking of things. I'm not saying that this side of thinking it is right. I'm just saying that it is true that we can't be the only ones that are thinking this, that it comes across as very judgmental. So I just hope that there is someone that he is listening to that is speaking this into him as well, that he has some kind of pastor or someone that he's looking up to that he can respect.
I read through like a bunch of the comments on it when I was looking through this, because like Betty always is like, go to the comments, and she's absolutely right, because that's where you see kind of the tone that is being taken. And like I saw Darren from We Are Messengers commenting and saying, oh, I think this is really good, and other people, a lot of people going, we made the right guy famous and things like that. And so it's being met overwhelmingly, it feels like, with people supporting it, because the less popular opinion is where I'm at right now with it. And I'm more, I think we're all on the same page here. Mm-hmm. I'm just being more direct about it.
Passionate.
Yeah. And so, but like
you are with everything.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that there are people that are in that viewpoint, but the majority is saying this other stuff, because if you have the counter viewpoint, then somehow you're less than too. You're attacking God. You're attacking a fellow Christian artist, and you're in the wrong for doing that. Mm. And that's where we get into the problem. I'm not attacking him personally. I've said countless times here, I think he really believes this, and I think he's a super devout person. I don't care for his way that he puts out his faith, because it's not anything I would respond to as a non-believer, because I walk in a different world than he does. Mm-hmm. And my friends that are non-believers walk in a different place, and that's not what would appeal to them, And so for me, I'm not attacking him, but it is, like you're saying, well,
that part where you got the look from me, I would say that was probably a barbed wire.
It was a little barbed. That's fine.
It was a dart.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun.
Not a big deal. It was an opinion.
You like your...
I need words. I need words for my opinion.
I don't hate the guy. I just call him small.
You said little guy.
The little guy, yeah.
To bully him.
Yeah, well, no, he said people were bullying him. No one bullied you, bro. You weren't bullied. Like, that was nuts. Like, again, I was texting with other artists, and they're like, yeah, and I can't even say what they said because I don't want to break that confidence, which I know that's weak to bring it up and then not say it, but I'm sorry, I can't say it. But like, that was a shot. But anyway, I think that Gavin and I were talking about this off air. And I think Gavin gave me a really good example of this, because I was like, he feels like in the Bible, Paul, I am suffering for the cause of Christ, and I am in prison chains, and I am doing all the amazing work of God. He's writing these letters, and you guys are fighting, and you're babies, and you're dumb. Like Paul had an ego. Mm-hmm. Like if you really look at the writings of Paul, there's a little bit of ego in that too. And he always couches it with, but I deny everything for Christ who is in me. But there's still an area. This guy was a guy who, was persecuting Christians. He was high up. He was wealthy. Like, he had it all. You don't just check all of that, even when you encounter Christ. I think there was still an ego to him. The disciples, they had egos. They wanted to see who was going to be on the right hand of God, And so I think there's that. I think in this example of Forrest's life, and you can't paint him with one brush. I'm going to be very clear about that. That does not mean this is how he always was. Does not mean this is how he always will be. In this snapshot.
And we've never met him.
Exactly. Well, I met him once.
True.
And it wasn't very fun. It just wasn't. That's not a shot. That's true. When we did,
It doesn't matter if you say it and then you back it up with "it's true." That doesn't mean
It's
it
my
doesn't
truth.
make it a barb.
well, no,
It
it's not.
is.
But it's a true. It's a statement that I'm allowed
It's
to
a
have.
statement that is a
No,
pope.
it's
Yes.
How is it
It's
a
a little
pope?
pokey.
He and we had
You
an
said it was not-
interaction.
That's your opinion.
On the red carpet, and I did not find him. He did not find me funny, and I did not find him fun. Okay, like the thing we were doing on the red carpet at the Doves last year, he didn't find funny. He was like, whatever. Thought it was childish or what have you, and that's fine. But by the same token, I didn't find him fun. And so that's just the interaction. And that's okay. That's my point. It's okay to not agree inside of this. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I haven't even said he's a bad, horrible believer. I'm like, this guy's super devout, probably way more devout than me. He's going to get bigger crowns, which brings me to another point that I'll get to in a second. But the thing about it is, I envision the person I relate to in the Bible more is Peter. Peter, who had all this passion, but just kept messing up. He denies Jesus right after defending him to the death. And he's like, I don't know that guy. I'm Peter. I'm Thomas. I'm the worst example of all of these things, So I'm not trying to say that I'm better than Forrest, because I'm not. A guy who spends more time in the Word, is a better believer. I'll give him that all day long.
But in your opinion, is it your statement is that it's more related, in some ways guys like Peter and Thomas are more relatable than
Paul.
Guys like Paul,
yes,
who again, similar to Forrest, he would not stop writing. He wrote a lot of letters. And Forrest writes a lot of songs, but it's hard because it's it does feel like they, by their actions, are on this different level than all of us.
Absolutely. But I think Peter and Paul are more applicable to the vast majority of people. Now, I do have to say one thing, Betty Lou. Betty Lou is a prognosticator. She's a predictor of different things. And before we got into this, because we always talk about where we're going to go. We don't talk about what we're going to say. We talk about what we know what we're going to talk about on the show. And I said, we're going to talk about the first thing. And she was a little nervous about it. And I said, we're probably going to do 8 minutes on it. We're at 17 and a half. She's like, you won't do 8.
You literally said, I don't think it'll only take 8. You should prepare something.
Yeah, and it turns out she was right again. She's always right.
So I'm not going to prepare anything.
You don't have to. We're good today. And so the other thing I would say, though, is this is the funniest thing. When people start talking about the trophies and getting trophies and accolades and all this bad stuff, but then when you juxtapose that to heaven, what is the thing we keep talking about heaven? Getting a crown in heaven, you get a jewel, you get a crown, you get a mansion, you get this. There is a reward system set up in place for doing the right things here.
There's nothing wrong with being recognized for your accomplishments.
But but the higher ground is, those are from Jesus, they matter. These are from men.
True.
This is evil. It's not good. It's self-indulgent. And I don't necessarily agree with that, But I've always found it funny and curious that we're to deny yourself, and then the only way they can describe heaven is getting trophies, basically, that for all the good works you did, which is kind of a weird, that's always been a sticking point for me inside of our faith. I've come to the point on that where I believe that was just a way for somebody to explain something that we can't understand. Mm-hmm. And that was the best way they could explain it, like streets of gold. Because gold was the most precious commodity then because of what it took. Now it would be streets of iPhones or whatever. If the example was different today, it would be applicable to what was going on currently.
You were writing to, a lot of that writing was to people who might not have been educated and just had very little to base a lot of things on.
So all of that said, that was a email that started this from Caitlin. So Caitlin, thank you very much. I hope we have addressed this as you would like as potties. I will be very curious on a professional level with Forrest. We're off of the spiritual stuff. It'd be interesting to see if he's making the right or wrong career decision with how he's releasing stuff. Because I don't even know what label he's on. He might not even be on a label. I don't know. Because he might be reinventing kind of the way that music is consumed and done now. Because traditional wisdom is you've got a record label, they put out a single, that single goes for a while, then it starts to wane and you put out your next single. And it's months or, years, 6 months till the next one comes out. He's doing stuff like every week almost, it feels like. And it's in my opinion, it's overexposed. There's too much. You don't even get to really sit with something and enjoy it because the next thing's out. And then you're like, did I miss something? Because there's like something new and it gets confusing. Too many choices for people gets confusing. And so is he making a mistake professionally or is he ahead of the game? And this is the way that music will be consumed by people because the record companies that don't even have it figured out. They've been trying for years to figure out in the digital world what it should look like. And so I'm curious. That will be the most interesting part of Forrest Frank's career to me is was he right or was he wrong on how to put out music? Because him being right it would be a game changer for how music will be put out in the future. And he also does a lot of collabs. Like everything is a collab with all these people.
Yeah,
and
this year has been all collaborations.
I couldn't tell you an album he has. I couldn't tell you how many songs. I couldn't tell you anything. I just know that he's got a million collabs. And is that? I have a feeling that's for the moment. I have a feeling that is what this moment is. I don't know if it's long-term sustainable.
Even like earlier this year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, he came out with the album Child of God. And then earlier this year, or a few months ago, Child of God 2 came out. And that's like 18 songs.
Oh, wow. And then, for a total of 36 minutes.
And then, actually,
not a shot. He writes short songs. It's fact.
Yeah, the man is the king of 220.
So yeah, that's great for us.
But I think
except if you have to pee.
But he's my worst nightmare. But,
yeah, he is.
But whenever he broke his back, supposedly.
See, now I didn't say that, Rock. I didn't say that.
When he broke his back, I feel like ever since he did that, I could see a world where he realized, man, this life is short. I don't know. I was trying to sing there. But like, I feel like he probably realized that life has got some shortness to it and that something worse could have happened. And that I think that pushed him into this world where he's like, I gotta keep going.
He's on the grind. I mean, if nothing else, like I respect the work ethic.
Yeah.
I respect the work ethic of being hurt and continuing to write stuff. 100%. All day long, I will applaud that. I posted a video of doing a application at Chick-fil-A and like everyone that was there before me, I respect the work. They're all out there hustling. Like, hey, I'm trying to get a job, trying to provide for my family. I respect hard work, absolutely. And this guy's working hard, so good on him. There you go. Found some common ground, me and Forrest. I don't know. We could be best friends. We could be braiding each other's mustaches. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. How do we feel at the end of this?
What do you mean?
How do we feel good about the...
I feel good about talking about it. I would be really interested if... It'd be interesting because when you don't know somebody, you make all these judgments, and then when you get in front of them, like, would it be different and be like, "Hey, you're my boy," you know, like him and Corey?
I think it would.
You think?
Probably
because it always is that way with you.
Yeah, that's true. Him and Corey Asbury, like now they're friends or something after their whole beef thing, and so they got together, and yeah, maybe so. Maybe I'm a pushover. Like when I get in front of somebody, and you're like, "Oh, okay, you're not as bad as I thought."
I think you assume the worst right off the bat.
Yeah. I do.
And so, but you're also easily persuaded to go to the best when you meet them.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a bad person.
And neither is
I
Forrest.
bet he's like, no, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. He's not a bad person.
No.
Not a bad person. I want to be, if anyone, I think at the end of this conversation, what I want people to take away is I'm legit not attacking him. I have a different perspective on this from him. And he and I are very different in the way that we approach faith and gospel and sharing it, but that's okay. Like, because he will appeal to and reach people that I won't, and I will do the same. And, you know, maybe we just let each other exist in their own space, and that's a good thing.
And ultimately, I think it's healthy to have conversations about how we're all handling, like, our faith publicly, too.
Yeah.
I think especially because we're public. We do a podcast every single day. He makes a post every single day about something.
Right.
And like it's because I had somebody who was like, man, if he just doesn't like Forrest Frank, maybe just stop interacting with all that content. I'm like, it's the industry we're in.
Because
like,
he's putting it out. Yeah. It's like, well, this is what we talk about. Like if he was a shoe salesman I wouldn't be seeing his posts and I wouldn't be talking about it because we don't sell shoes. You know, we talk about music. We talk about artists in this. And so when he he's putting himself in the narrative. Like you guys had both said, if he had just not gone to the Doves, it wouldn't have been a story. Yeah. No one would have known.
Nobody would care.
And it would have been like, okay, you didn't go to the Doves. And then you tell people individually why you're not. I think it's way classier, personally. But like, we also work in a multimedia broadcasting industry where this is your platform and your message. It's like I get on here every day and talk about stuff that bothers me or that whatever. And so I don't begrudge him using the internet or the platform to say what he wants to say. Absolutely not. And we all have that right. And podcasting and all this stuff has given everybody more of a right than ever and more of a space than ever to have an opinion, you know, and then people either consume it and like it or they don't. So yeah, I don't fault him at all for using social media like he's using it. Like, that's good. Good on you, man. We'll see how it shakes out.
Even when it comes across as judgmental, according to you?
Yeah, I mean, because it's his right to do it. Like, you have to protect speech that maybe you don't even like, but you have to protect that. And I would be a giant hypocrite if I'm like, oh, I don't want you to say things, or boy, you shouldn't be allowed to say that, but then I can say stuff that rub people the wrong way or what have you. No, if you are in a place of broadcasting, you have to agree and sign up for freedom of speech. Because the minute you want to take somebody else's away, that's when they can come for yours. You know, because I don't agree with a lot of things that are said in the world, but then I also will defend the right to say them because I know it's important for us. Because there will be a day in the future, someday, when this world is coming to an end. And I'm not a big end times, fear the end of the world thing, but there will be a day. I mean, it's in the Bible when it starts to come to an end and people's voice will start to be silenced. And that's when you're living in those end times. And so, it will require people to be bold and to have a point and to
Forrest
resist.
Frank is doing.
Absolutely. And he can do that. And that's my point. He can do that. But I should have the right to disagree with him as well without being seen as somebody who is making him a martyr or I'm a heretic. That's where we get into the problem. A lot of times people in the comments would come at me for disagreeing with him. Betty wouldn't let me comment on him today. She's like, I think that's a bad idea.
Because what you wanted to say was not right.
It was funny.
I don't know.
It was funny.
Just because
What do you wanna
it's
say?
funny doesn't mean it's right.
I'll comment it. You can do it under my...
do it on your personal one.
Yeah.
For some reason, you think if it's funny, then that covers it all.
It kind of does.
No.
Yeah,
because
for me.
your meter for funny is different from others.
Right.
You need a burner phone.
Yeah, and a burner account.
You need a burner account. Forrest is like, why is this anonymous person always commenting on my stuff?
I really do. That's a good idea, Gavin. You're on fire today, Gavin. Well, Betty Rock, we're not going to need your thing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I could not. I wish I hadn't taken all that time to pull audio.
Would you like to do it?
Get the story.
I would be more than
all
happy to
the
do
things.
it. Unless we hear two options. I am more than happy to do it since you put effort into it and I respect work. I will stay here and we will do it. Or you could do less work tomorrow by holding it for then.
Or what will happen is if I wait and hold it for tomorrow, you'll hear something. You'll be like, let's do that. That story is a lot better than the one that you were holding out for yesterday.
Yeah. Or Forrest will make another post tomorrow and then I'm like,
Okay, let me do my story.
Oh, you want to do it? Let's go. What are we doing?
Are we?
I do need you to calm down.
I can't.
though.
I'm worked up.
I need to go home after this.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so there is a debacle going on where a woman was at a restaurant with her 8-month-old daughter. Her 8-month-old daughter has recognized her voice, meaning she's screaming now. And she's not screaming because she's mad or sad. She's just excited. She can just use her voice. But there was a man there that approached her and said, hey, can you get your kid to calm down or just be quiet? And she did not like that. This is the video that she posted.
As Christians, it's hard to know where the line in the sand.
I'm sorry, when you said someone complained, I thought it was that one.
Really? Oh my gosh.
I knew you loved him, and
so
you just want to
funny.
talk about him so much.
No, here you go.
So this gentleman here is telling me to tell my 8-month-old to stop screaming.
Oh gosh!
because he has sensitive ears. I know it's loud, but he's an adult. He can leave.
That's true.
Well, so can you. But anyway, that's a tough call.
It's a tough
It's a
call
little
because, yes, she is allowed to be in that restaurant, but so is he.
So is he.
And just because you have a child-free life doesn't mean you can have a child-free world.
Right.
You're going to have to share it with people. However,
That was loud.
it was a shriek.
Yeah.
And if she and in the audio in the video, she keeps doing it.
Yeah. I have a different take on this in that if it's a kid misbehaving, it's different than in a mom just not or a dad not behaving their or like policing their kid. Like an 8-month-old, like just is totally different to me. I'm at that point, I would remove myself from the situation. I would never be like, you need to shut your 8-month-old up. I would never have that conversation with him.
I would say if I was the parent too, though,
I'd be trying to make it
there'd be
quiet.
a handful of times that my kid could do that. And I'd be like, oh, guys, I'm sorry that, this baby, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then if it's...
I'm trying.
If it's minutes and 10, 20, 30, like if it's continuous, at one point or another, I personally would be like, man, there are a lot of people here that might be here to have a calm afternoon. Maybe I'll just take, so-and-so out and calm down a little bit.
That's what I would do.
Or do something like that.
I never let my kid be that inconvenience to other people. I took my kid out.
Even if in this scenario, it's not a kid,
It's still a kid being
trying
noisy.
to
Right,
be
yeah, but it's
annoying.
still annoying.
It's still, it's like, it's not like I wouldn't leave my alarm clock at home on just because I didn't feel like turning it off.
They should make an alarm clock with this kid's scream.
So this gentleman here is telling me to tell my 8-month-old to stop screaming.
Oh my gosh. I would get up instantly.
It's
that was rough.
piercing.
Now, Betty, you don't have kids, so where do you land on this?
It would aggravate me. I was recently at a restaurant where a friend of mine and we met up, and there were 3 couples sitting next to us. And between the 3 couples, they had like 10 children. Okay. And the adults were trying to catch up with one another. I totally get that, and I respect it. However, the kids were running around like crazy. One was pushing the infant child that was in her car. What do you call it? Baby seat car?
Yeah,
thing? Stroller. Pushing her around the restaurant. And we're like getting nervous for that baby because she could just easily topple the thing over. Some were toppling over like chairs, and it was making this really loud noise. And that was aggravating to me. My heart went out to the parents because I can imagine if you're stuck in a house with kids like that are rambunctious, you do want to get out. However, there are people that it's kind of like having a dog and you don't pick up after itself.
Right.
Like I shouldn't have to bear the consequences of a decision that you made.
Right. Yeah.
And you made the decision to have these kids. I shouldn't have to worry about your infant that you're not watching getting pushed around in her stroller by her older brother and getting nervous, or all of a sudden thinking there's a gunshot, but it's some kid that just knocked over their chair on a metal chair on a tile floor.
If parents are trying, I'm so much more forgiving.
Yeah.
It's when they ignore and they're, like you said, they're just out for the evening and they just don't care. Like everybody else's problem is my kid now. That bothers me.
Yeah, I've seen that more, though, sadly, when it comes to dads. And then I get angry when I see the mom is trying, but the dad is just sitting there eating a steak and not even paying attention.
Yeah, that's
in
not
those situations, I'm like, oh, I just want to slap him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like you talk about like getting worried for the other kid. I'll sit there and I've watched kids like teetering back on a chair, and I always had this fear of my daughter cracking the back of her head on something. And I'm eating and I'm so nervous, and the amateur first responder in me is like sitting on the edge. So if that kid starts to go, I know I've already got my plan. I'm going to dive out and try to save this kid. But you, Dad, should be watching your own kid. You know, I shouldn't be stressed about this. You should be watching your own kid, you know? So, yeah, that's a tough one. I think, too, sometimes it's the place that you're at as well. Like when you're at a Chick-fil-A, you know there's going to be a bunch of kids. There's a play place. You know it's going to be loud. When you're at a nicer restaurant and people are like letting their kids run through and like they're sitting over here and you're watching the kid run up and down the aisle, that drives me nuts.
Yeah. My parents were going to a church once. It was on the smaller side, but there was a mom there that they didn't have a nursery per se, but she would let her kid come in, but he would run up and down the aisles. And she wouldn't stop him. She would just let him.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how that was very distracting for everybody there. But then no one wanted to say anything because at least this mom was in
Was
church
in
with her
church.
kid.
It's a tough call.
It is. It's a tough call.
Yeah, I think that's where you have to know the situation, and you have somebody pull her aside on outside to not embarrass her either. Because like when somebody is in the doors of a church that you don't know, they could be the first time they've been there in forever, or since they had another bad experience at church, and so I'm real grace filled in church.
But
for sure.
what's the right way that this guy could have approached this woman with this screaming kid and gotten a better reaction?
I don't think there is a right way.
Telling other parents how to do things, or telling other people how to parent in public. That's like
It's not
so
a win.
little room for win. Yeah.
Unless he goes, hey, I know you got your hands full. Here's what we'll do. If you can figure out a way, feed your child or whatever, to keep them quiet for the rest of the meal, I'll pay for your dinner.
Yeah.
That would be a win. Because then this mom now is like, okay. And she'll be shoving pudding in that kid's face to keep him quiet. And so now you don't have an altercation. And now you have a thing and a touch point of like, you did something nice for somebody. And you know, so I don't know. It could redeem the situation.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And you shouldn't have to, because she should already police the kid herself. But we don't live in that world. We don't live in a world where people give a rip about other people.
I remember
out in
that
public.
story where there was some woman that she was on a flight and some toddler came up and she actually had a real metal knife, like a butter knife.
Yeah.
And she came up and she just
Stabbed her
with it.
Yeah.
And she was like, wake up that mom right now, because I am not about to be babysitting your child. The mom was in her seat asleep, leaning up against the window.
It's insane.
Had no idea that her little girl was running around with a metal butter knife stabbing people.
It's insane. Like
But then again, you think, well, she's probably desperate for sleep. She probably doesn't get it at all.
Yeah.
But then again,
she could be a lackluster mom.
But then where's the dad? Like, does the
Then
dad
again, she
help?
ran him off because she's a problem.
I know, I'm frustrated. I need to go home.
You can then again everything. You're like my wife because you're both 9s. My wife and you always, the then again is always the best case scenario for that person.
Yeah.
And mine is always, then again, they could be a serial killer. But
yeah, but you escalate the situation,
Yeah.
making it worse than it could be.
I don't know. I'm not bad in public. Like in public, I try to get along and I try not to be intrusive. I try to be so kind to people in public, and
Especially in a drive-through. Hey, I got my card.
yeah.
I got my money
got it.
ready. It's their fault.
I've
not
warned
mine.
I've warned people about a drive-through before. I've warned at the pudding festival when we were leaving, I should have.
We're 38 minutes in.
I
Let's
know.
get to birthdays.
I should have been yelling to the people in line, it's not worth it. Don't wait the rest of this time.
I think
Turn
you did
around.
that on social media.
I
If
did on social
anything,
media.
You could have pulled a Forrest Frank right then and there, because the people that ran the Banana Pudding Festival,
Yeah.
they're like, that was a bad criticism. Like, how
But it
rude
was true.
of him.
But it was true.
Well, maybe what Forrest Frank is saying, it's true.
Maybe it is. He has the right to say it, just like I have the right to say it, and they have the right to be upset with me. It's perfect. Everybody wins.
All right, birthdays.
Yay!
Schaefer celebrate to his sister Macy.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Macy. He said Macy is just full of joy at all times and a big hug bug. Aw.
Who isn't?
P.S. She doesn't make fun of me like my other sister. Toby Mac is not lame, Sheridan.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Joshua wants to wish himself a happy birthday.
Yay, Joshua!
Said, I'm currently a paraprofessional for our elementary school in Kansas City.
Nice.
I also help lead and guide our youth group worship band and serve as the worship tech director of our church. Wow, you're a busy
A
man.
lot of volunteer in there.
And then finally, Gabby wants to wish her husband Matthew a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Matthew.
Said he's turning 50 today.
Oh, big
Ooh,
one.
that is a big one. But I bet you don't act a day over 25.
50 didn't mess with me for some reason. 51 did. And I don't know why.
That when you took your bike down the
Yeah, it's when I
stairs
started
and Anna
hurting
said,
myself more.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah, I started hurting myself in my early 50s. 40 didn't bother me either. 40 is different for girls, though, I think. Like, did 40 bother you?
I mean,
Little?
just a little.
Yeah. 40
I'm
didn't
trying
bother
to get
me.
past it.
Oh, still?
No, I'm all right.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, that's going to do it for your Aftercast. And as always...
Well, let me just point out, you said, oh, Rock, that'll take 8 minutes.
I know.
I'll just say my opinion and we'll get out.
Yeah.
We are 40 minutes.
I know. And of that, 32 minutes is all the other stuff we did that you wanted to do. And the 8 minutes was my thing.
Absolutely not.
All
Okay,
right.
bye. Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.